And welcome to our June edition of Sports Highlights. Glad you're with us. Greg Bicaveras for our monthly show that airs at 7 a.m., 2 p.m., and 7 p.m. on Mondays, weekends at 9 a.m. on Cox Cable 47, 517, nnpstv.com, on Twitter, as well as YouTube as well. At Greg Bick on Twitter. Our guests today are Chris Stillo, the head golf professional at Killen Creek Golf Club and Resort, and Dave Henderson, head coach of SEVA, Southeastern Virginia Aquatics. Chris, good to see you.
Thanks for having me, Greg.
How did you get involved in golf?
Got started at an early age of 5, and I think I got started more than anything because my father played.
Mm-hmm. This time of the year, golf is very popular. People gear up for the spring for golf. People play year-round, but it's always based on weather.
Yes, based on weather. When you get to the Masters, that second week in April, it seems that the buzz, it really creates some golf energy in the air. So certainly people start playing golf, coming out to the golf course around then.
We'll talk about your club and resort, how it's evolved over the years.
Yeah, well, Kiln Creek started in 1989. I think it opened in 1990, but it's just a fantastic club. It's evolved certainly over the years. It's seen tough times and it's seen good times. And certainly we're heading in a phenomenal direction right now and really rejuvenating that place and getting it to be a sweet destination for the peninsula and just for this part of Virginia.
You mentioned the ups and downs. Golf, of course, takes some time, whether you play 9 holes or 18 holes. We live in a very OCD, telephone, computer craze, we're pressed for time world. 20, 30 years ago, it seemed like when we were in the dial-up internet age,
Sure.
We had plenty of time. Now it seems like it's tough for even the casual golfer to break away from work and do it. Or is it more on the weekend play?
Yeah, I think it's certainly folks need to plan to play on the weekends because everybody's working. But I think my generation, the millennials, getting them to move quicker, giving them stuff instantaneous, and golf's certainly not that way. You see the same thing in baseball; it's slow paced, and certainly our generation is starting to gravitate away from that. But there's things that we can do to kind of bring them back in, and I think you'll start to see a new wave of millennials start coming back to golf.
Yeah, because a lot of these rules were done decades ago, especially in golf and baseball, because baseball can go 3 to 4 hours if it's televised.
Sure.
In golf, if there's a couple rain delays or something, it can definitely prolong the activity.
Yeah, such rich tradition in some of these sports, and I think that creates some of the problem. I think everybody sees, well, you got to play 9 hole or 18 holes versus just going out and playing 9, or maybe you just play 3 or 4 holes just to get your feel of it for the day. Whatever just gets you out there, gets that pace, gets that hour, that 2 hours in, then you can leave it alone.
This is our June edition of Sports Highlights, talking to Chris Stillo, head golf professional, Killen Creek Golf Club and Resort. I'm sure you've heard people say, how do you pronounce Killen Creek? Even to this day,
Yeah.
It's a very difficult word. Kiln, whatever.
Yeah, we've heard it several different ways, but it's Kiln Creek. Just like if you say kill and then throw a little in on the end of it, Kiln Creek Golf Club and Resort.
What are the biggest things that you do as a golf professional? Is it the fundamentals that you try to stress?
You talking about from a teaching aspect? We deal more, in my profession, we deal more with the business aspect of it than we do probably anything else, but certainly from the teaching. Fundamentals, whatever that may be, preferences, working with that day in and day out. That's certainly what gravitates people back to playing their best golf and getting their best performance.
Is it best to pick it up at a young age? I know I started playing tennis at a young age. For golfers to have the right tendencies and the right habits and routines, because when you start trying to change habits, it's tough at an older age when you got a certain swing.
Yeah, it is. What I've seen out of most people that I work with is the athleticism. And I'm not talking about just having, I was a good baseball player or whatever. I'm talking about overall athleticism. The best overall athletes tend to be the best golfers, and you see that on the PGA Tour as well. But obviously, the sooner you can start, the better, just to learn those tendencies, to learn those different golf skills in the various areas. But good overall athletes, that puts out some good golfers.
Yeah, you see some former professional athletes who cross over different sports, John Smoltz and also Tony Romo. Excellent golfers.
Yeah, and great, you put a good perspective in there, throwing motions.
Yes.
Golf swing is a big-time throwing motion. Everybody relates it more to swinging a baseball bat, but you look at pitchers, quarterbacks, great golfers. And it's that throwing motion, that sidearm motion, which is really what we use in the golf swing. It's very much a dominant pitching motion.
And people always talk about you have to be in shape to play golf. You do. When you're a PGA Tour player, you have to walk the course. Do you think that'll ever change? I know John Daly got some criticized recently as well. Tiger kind of gave him a little edge that he had a broken leg and he was still walking the course. But, you remember years ago that if somebody's hurt, they would ask for the cart, but they will look kind of the wrong eye.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, to get back into the tradition of it, I don't know if you'll ever see necessarily people driving golf carts, the tour pros, aside from out on the senior tour, but especially on the PGA Tour, I don't think you'll see that. But they are softening it. You see them wearing shorts now in practice rounds. It might come a day to where you start seeing them wear shorts. As a PGA member, they've now given us the opportunity to wear shorts when it's approved by the host facility. So there's a couple little things like that that I think you'll see change as we move forward.
And of course, the women's attire is a little bit more casual.
Sure, absolutely.
We'll talk about your course for the person who's never been there before. How many courses do you have? Give us a lay of the land of your golf course.
Yeah, so it's 18 holes. Started out as 27 holes, and then now we're down to 18-hole facility. Got a full practice facility from a range, chipping, putting green. We have Nest Restaurant there as well, kitchen and tap out. Fantastic. I mean, you basically have everything you need right there in that little community, and it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, I think it's a great community. You're close to the airport, you're close to the interstate, you're close to major grocery stores. It's very convenient. I guess the only downside in trying to get there during rush hour is a lot of traffic approaching Killen Creek. But how has it evolved as far as the actual course, as far as the landscaping, as far as the greens, the fairway? Talk about your maintenance crew, what it takes to get ready for a golf season.
It's unbelievable what they put into it. There's a tremendous amount of resources involved, both personnel and just the things that you have to have. It's not like just growing grass in your backyard. There's a lot of different things that go into it to get that grass as lush and as premium as it can be. To go out onto that facility and to see the greens as tightly manicured as they are and the fairways the same way, it just blows your mind. So we have a staff of about 12 out there that are working on the golf course day in and day out, but that's just a golf course. They're also dealing with the landscaping outside of the golf course as a whole of Kiln Creek, and certainly they have a staff for that too. But there's a lot that goes into making that place look extremely special.
That's a 12-month job.
Oh, it's
for landscaping.
Absolutely. There's never stop. You have to get prepared for every little season, and you're always going to run into issues. I mean, whether you have poor weather or whatever, there's always going to be things that you're going to run into that's going to make it trying at times. But when you get out there and you see the finished product and it looks the way you want it to, there's not a better feeling in the world.
Yeah, this is our June edition of Sports Highlights, talking to Chris Stillo, head golf professional, Kiln Creek Golf Club and Resort. Greg Pickaveras, glad you're with us right here at Greg Pick on Twitter. And for the novice fan out there, when you look at the greens, when you're putting, kind of like a baseball field, the grass has got to be immaculate, kind of very similar. Footwork is very important too.
Yeah, absolutely. The surface that you play on, I think the PGA Tour puts it a little bit out of perspective because they're playing on just pristine conditions. They're preparing those golf courses months and months in advance, and then not allowing anyone to play on it prior to the tour. So they're absolutely pristine. And the fact that we're able to offer the product we do at Kiln Creek, or that any club can get their golf facilities in good enough condition for day in, day out play that they can play on similar conditions is absolutely phenomenal. So there's a lot that goes into it for sure.
Not to mention the technology. How have the balls, the putters, the clubs, how they all changed over the years since you first got into golf? Because a beginner might not be comfortable with the same thing, let's say, that a PGA Tour player is using.
Yeah, so the equipment is taking on a whole new role. I mean, we put so much emphasis on the equipment in today's age. Getting fit for your golf clubs makes a huge difference regardless of your skill level. I mean, there's so many different variables in there. The clubs have gotten bigger. They've moved the weight in certain places to make it easier for you. So I think over the last 20 years, especially in my generation, I've seen tremendous improvements in the golf clubs. It's making the game a little bit easier and more enjoyable.
Now, what about the demographics as far as the youth, the adults, and the senior citizens? What are you seeing more of?
Well, right now you got a tremendous amount of 50 to 70-year-olds that are playing golf. It's a great retired sport. It's something you can play for your entire life. We are fortunate enough. We have the first tee of the peninsula is located out of Kiln Creek, and so we see a ton of kids. And I think if you go on the south side, there's some good teachers down there that have just a tremendous amount of kids. and they're kids that want to play competitive golf. You don't see so much just kids getting into golf just to play for the fun of it. You're starting to see kids who do play it, they're playing it competitively, and I think that's interesting. But you're seeing all walks of life from young to old.
You get fresh air, a great view as well. And a lot of business people go out there to discuss business, and they'll have a nice lunch afterwards. So it's a great networking tool as well. What about tournaments? How many tournaments do you have during the course of the summer?
I mean, we have multiple tournaments every single month, and it's a great way to showcase our golf facility day in and day out, and certainly it gives us an opportunity to boost membership and just in general to have more people visit the facility each day.
So we talked about footwork, but holding the grip of the putter or the club is very important. How do you know the right way? Do you kind of do that? Does your staff help with that?
Yeah, so anytime we're doing instruction, we're always going to go through basic, what you would call fundamentals. Grips, there's some tendencies and preferences in there for sure, but the main thing is that you're getting a good, firm enough grip that allows you to be able to square the club face at impact. And that's all it boils down to. And it doesn't matter if your grip's a little bit different than mine, whatever helps you hit the golf ball with a square club face time in and time out consistently. That's what we're after.
Yeah, and lefties have their own whole new arena there too as well. We're already into 2019. Several majors have gone by. Masters, PGA Championship is early, U.S. Open's on the horizon. Kind of funny to believe that 3 majors are pretty much done the first 6 months of the year.
Yeah. Absolutely, and it happens so quick, and these guys gear up for this stuff. That's what they play golf tournaments for, is prepare for these majors. And certainly you see how they peak during the Masters, during the PGA Championship, during the U.S. Open, all from things that they've prepared for months and months in advance.
And I know Jack Nicklaus was sweating when Tiger Woods won the Masters because he's still in his early 40s. Yeah, he's been through, let's say, HE double toothpick, but that guy still got an upside. And when he does well, TV does well, golf does well, it helps you guys as well.
I don't think people really appreciate what someone like Tiger Woods does. You saw a little bit of it with Jordan Spieth when he was kind of making his run, win Masters championships and the different majors. He was moving the needle a little bit. But you think about Tiger winning the Masters and doing as well as he's doing in the majors. That is pressing the needle, moving it forward, getting people, reintroducing people to golf who might not have played in the last 10 years during his little bit of a hiatus. They're coming back to golf again with some enthusiasm.
I'm sure there are a lot of phone calls on Monday to book golf courses.
Absolutely.
What advice would you give to the young people out there who want to play golf?
You need to get on the golf course. I think a lot of programs, and this is one thing that we're doing with our junior program at Kiln Creek, we need to get these kids out on the golf course. When I played golf, Mom would drop us off in the morning and we'd play golf all day. We didn't hit balls on the range and chip and putt. No phone. Yeah, absolutely. We spent all of our time on the golf course, and we picked up so many little tips just from watching each other, playing with brothers, playing with your best friends. You picked up so much along the way. They need to get on the golf course and play golf holes.
Make it happen. All right, Chris Dillow, head golf professional at Kiln Creek Golf Club and Resort. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your summer.
Thanks, Greg.
All right, very good. We learned a lot about golf today, folks. We got Dave Henderson coming up. This is our June edition of Sports Highlights. Stay tuned.
Music and fine arts provide enriching experiences. They teach students that there can be more than one solution to a problem, more than one right answer, that mistakes are learning experiences and present an opportunity to be creative and flexible. The arts encourage persistence and dedication. They require sustained concentration, personal reflection involving critical analysis, and self-adjustment to reach desired goals. These are essential 21st century skills. Skills recognized as important to productive career and citizen success. Each student deserves and benefits from an arts-rich education.
The Telecommunications Center is an award-winning television production facility for high school students in the Newport News Public Schools. Students can learn studio, remote production, audio operation, editing, directing, and much more. Students can also earn college credit through dual enrollment. The center has graduates working for MTV, ESPN, CNN, Entertainment Tonight, and Tyler Perry Studios. If you want to jumpstart your career in broadcasting, contact your guidance counselor or call 591-4687.
And welcome back to our June edition of Sports Highlights. Greg Pickfaris, glad you're with us for our program since February of 1992. Hope you enjoyed Chris Dillo, head golf professional at Kiln Creek Golf Club and Resort. Now we welcome Dave Henderson, head coach of SIVA. Dave, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thanks for having me.
You're from NoCal, and of course you've been involved with swimming most of your adult life.
Since I was 5 years old.
Goodness, how did you get involved in swimming?
I had to do what my big brother was doing. At the age of 5, I started swimming and swam through my high school years and my freshman year of college, and then started coaching after that.
There's nothing more refreshing, in my opinion, we're here in the summertime now, than swimming in a pool, a beach, a river if you have to, or a lake. There's something about being in the water that rejuvenates you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Just being in and being able to relax, the water kind of holds your body up. You're almost weightless in the water. It's a great activity, physical fitness-wise. It's very enjoyable for a lot of people. It has lots of different activities. We have pools, we have water country, we have just our beaches, just so many different aquatic opportunities.
Yeah, of course, you are a swim instructor, coach as well with SIVA, but you love the water no matter what body of water it is.
Absolutely.
Now, the biggest thing is you have to be in shape, I guess, right, to swim?
If you're going to swim competitively, if you're going to lap swim, yes. But there's lots of programs out there, including ours, but other facilities have learn to swim programs where you can learn to swim. You get stroke instruction, so you're learning the basics, and then you can just progress through time.
Well, I'm sure if you go to the Midtown Community Center, which is sanctioned by the City of Newport News, you've seen this gentleman. I actually know how I met Dave. I was swimming laps myself, and I saw him coaching in the other lane. I did my favorite thing. I was taking a break, and that's how I introduced myself to Dave. But talk about SIVA and the history of SIVA.
SIVA started in the year 2000. It used to be the Fort Eustis swim team, sponsored by the Army. The Army privatized organizations, and we became SIVA. So we've been SIVA since August of 2000. We're a 140-member program, which is considered a medium-sized program in United States swimming. We're sponsored by USA Swimming in Colorado Springs. We're one of 46 clubs in Virginia, one of 4 on the peninsula. We offer private instruction for children who have just finished swim lessons but aren't quite ready for the swim team. We offer a stroke school, which is just teaching stroke technique, no competition involved. And then we have 8 different levels in our competitive program for 5-year-olds on up to college age.
Well, talk about the students that you have. You have a lot of young kids. I know you have a lot of Newport News School students.
Absolutely, we have a lot. A lot of these kids are coming from their neighborhood pools, their summer pools. That's one of the biggest areas that they start with. That's just getting started in a couple weeks here. Neighborhood pools opening up. There's over 1,000 children on the peninsula that swim for their neighborhood pools during the summertime. They get interested. They have a little bit of success. They have fun. They decide, well, I think I'd like to do this a little bit more. And then they start taking a look at the club program. Then they come to us, we do an evaluation of what their stroke technique that they know, and then we place them in groups based on that technique. Our first goal is technique teaching and technique instruction.
Now, I'm sure you've attended a lot of the swim meets that are outdoors. Talk about the differences between an outdoor swim meet and an indoor swim meet, let's say at the Midtown Community Center. When you look at the different pools like Hydenwood and Glendale, they're different sizes than, let's say, James River or Workout Country Club.
Yeah, most of the pools in the summertime are 25 meters in length. There are a couple that are a little shorter. Hydenwood is shorter. There's a neighborhood pool, Colony, that's an odd length. There's a pool in Hampton that's an odd length. Most of them are 25 meters. The Midtown pool is 25 yards across, and then 50 meters is the length, and that's the same as the Olympics are. And then they have a bulkhead that they can move. So our 25-yard meets that go from September, that happen in September through March, they'll put a bulkhead and we'll swim from the diving board end to the bulkhead and back. They'll move that bulkhead during the long course season, which is the 50 meters. and we'll swim, one full length of the pool in the other season, which is from the beginning of April through the beginning of August.
How do you develop the habits? Because sometimes the habits are hard to break when you start at a young age. You might do breaststroke different from, of course, freestyle, butterfly. Backstroke is always tough. I think butterfly is one of the toughest, but I guess the habits, breaking the habits, are important in your level.
We have different drills, stroke drills and games that we do with the children. Repetition is a key, but repetition can get boring. So there's a balance that you have to have. So each of our 8 different levels has different drills and different skills that we're trying to teach, and they just build on each other over time. It also keeps it new. They may have when they're 5 to 7 years old, they may have a certain drill they're doing, but when they move to the next level, they're learning a new drill. It's something new, it's something different, it's helping them progress. The 4 competitive strokes, freestyle, backstroke, breaststroke, and butterfly, we probably have 20 drills at least for each of those strokes that we teach the children, and they'll just progress through time and doing the drills, doing the games, and the instruction our coach and staff gives.
I remember I was taking swim lessons at Workout Country Club as a kid. They used to tell me to practice in bed, do freestyle. So there's ways you can swim and practice without being in the water.
Absolutely. You can do it in your bathroom in front of a mirror, or in your bedroom in front of a mirror, and look at what your arms are doing. You can do it laying in the bed, laying on the floor. So there's definitely different ways that you can practice out of the water.
It's almost like an aerobic or a yoga activity by doing the pool.
Right.
When you talk about the pool, breathing is very important, I would think, and finding out what you're comfortable with the most, because not everybody can excel in every single stroke.
There are different patterns of breathing depending on the stroke, and there's a specific time that you want that breath to occur. So if you're taking a breath at the wrong time, it can make the stroke really difficult.
Yeah.
So it's part of learning of the timing, part of the drills I mentioned previously. Different patterns. Freestyle will want to breathe on both sides, especially when the kids are first learning. So they develop a symmetrical stroke. The arms on both sides are the same. If they breathe on one side, they usually will develop over time one arm that's stronger than the other, and that actually can lead to injury if it's something that you're doing a lot of. We want to prevent that.
Yeah, you talk about the pool. Do you have a lot of college coaches coming to your meets?
We will have college coaches coming to our meets. We've got a lot of kids that swim in college. We've had over a dozen at Old Dominion. We've had a large number at William & Mary, Randolph-Macon, UVA, Virginia Tech, George Mason, Mary Washington, Hampton-Sydney, just about every college. We have swimmers going to Towson University this fall, and we also have another one going to William & Mary.
Yeah, swim meets are always intense. I mean, discipline is a big part. I know you're always constantly, yelling out instructions for the best interest in mind of each swimmer.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're trying to teach the kids. We're trying to work with them. That's part of their learning. We're not trying to criticize them. We're trying to work with them and guide them. And sometimes we have to remind them that, we're not yelling at you. If we're being loud, we're trying to make sure you're hearing us, because their heads are in the water. The coaches can seem like they're being very loud and aggressive. In a lot of cases, we're just trying to get their attention and get them to hear us.
Right. I know you can relate to this. We all do, and no matter what type of business we're in, we have to eliminate the distractions. But there's always parents, just like they're business owners, who want to give you your piece of advice or advice, and they have to realize that it's almost best in your swimming pool, stay in your lane.
Right.
Now, I'm sure you've dealt with that over the years.
Absolutely. We talk with our parents about the swimmer, coach, parent triangle, and asking the parents, please let the coach coach. Parents, we want them to love their kids, guide their kids. When we have challenges, we want to talk with the parents and include them. But there's a very important relationship that we don't try and parent their kids. We don't want parents to try and coach their children. That really confuses a child when that happens.
But that's a window of time away from their daily life. So it's an escape as well. Talk about some of the places you've competed against, cities and locations. In Virginia, we have the beginning level children pretty much stay local.
We're very fortunate to have the Midtown Pool. We also have Fort Eustis Aquatic Center, Old Dominion locally. So most of the kids, when they start off, they stay local. It's simple, it's short. As they progress, we'll go to meets in Richmond, Christiansburg, Northern Virginia, Stafford. Then again, next level up, they'll go to meets in North Carolina, Maryland, Washington, D.C. area. And then our top level high school swimmers will go all over the country. We'll go to meets in Orlando, Atlanta, Federal Way, which is outside of Seattle, California, Indianapolis, Texas, all over the country. And those are the kids that have been in swimming for a while and are working toward college scholarships.
All right, we're in the summer now. Very important question. No matter what time of the summer it is, whether it's Virginia Beach, Nags Head, you unfortunately see drownings. What advice would you give to the locals and the tourists watching about safety in the ocean?
The best thing to do and the most important thing for swimming is to get your child taught how to swim. Get them to learn to swim. Have them continue in a program where they are developing their strokes and become a strong swimmer. If they can do 2 or 3 strokes, what happens if they find themselves 10 or 15 feet away from a ladder or the side? So it's an activity that's very important for safety of our children and adults. When you're at a beach, definitely follow guidelines that the lifeguards are out there for their safety. They have flags telling them what different conditions are. Be aware of those conditions. Follow guidelines that they set. But just learning to swim, getting strong to be a stronger swimmer. That way they can get involved in all sorts of swimming activities and be safe.
And have a buddy system in the ocean.
Absolutely.
Yeah, lakes are a little bit different, but you can have undertow, you can have wind anywhere.
Exactly.
Yep. So give us your final piece of advice for a young or an old swimmer that wants to swim.
If they're interested in swimming and learning and getting instruction, they would just go to our website, SIVAswimming.com. And that website has all the information about the different programs that we have, from 4 or 5-year-olds on up to college age. And just get involved and work from one program, one group to the other. Enjoy the sport, have fun with it, and we'll help them progress and become strong swimmers.
Real quick, is there a speed difference between inside and outside swimming as far as time? Does the air or wind affect anything?
Usually not. Usually it's not a whole lot difference. The hardest is for backstroke because indoors you have something to look at. You have a frame of reference to help you go straight.
Yeah.
When you're outdoors, you have nothing but the sky, and if the clouds are moving, you may be all over the place.
Very good.
So it's mainly backstroke, but there's really not a whole lot of difference.
Yeah, folks, there's no GPS when you're swimming. You're by yourself. All right, that's Dave Henderson, head coach of SIVA. Dave, all the best to you and your staff for the rest of the summer.
Thanks for having me.
Very good. Thank you for enlightening us on the wonderful sport of swimming. Very refreshing, fun sport for an entire lifetime. So thank you to Chris Dillow and Dave Henderson, the great crew right here at Sports Highlights. Happy June. Hope you enjoy it. Have a great summer. We'll see you again in August. For Ray Price, I'm Greg Bickaveris at Greg Bick on Twitter. Thanks for watching our June edition of Sports Highlights, and we'll talk to you soon.